All right, we're back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us this morning. We are talking with Josh Horn from Social Security. The phone number's up on the screen, 737-7587. We had a couple during the break that fell off. They're welcome to call back in. We've got lines open, but we have some folks on hold that have some questions for you. So let's just jump into that. If you have questions about your Social Security, we'll go to Joe. Joe, good morning. Are you there, Joe?
Yes, sir. I'm partly here anyway.
Okay, kind of scratchy voice there. Try to be clear with us. Go ahead.
Okay, I got a question about what can be done in a situation where Social Security, the guy that does the reviews, I guess you'd say, in Tullahoma.
Yep.
He couldn't understand the paperwork. He thought that I had redeemed my property I lost due to taxes to the county, and he had me down for I had like $28,000 in assets, and was going to cut me off of it. And I went and talked to a lawyer in Shelbyville, and he told me the guy's an idiot, that he couldn't understand it.
So you're saying,
I'm wondering why the people are allowed to word property transfers any way they want to.
Okay. So does that mean what you're saying is that that property was taken away from you? It's no longer an asset. It's not like you made money on it, right?
Right. I got nothing from it.
Okay. And what are you on disability? Are you collecting Social Security? What are you collecting right now?
SSI.
Okay. Okay. So his concern is, look, it seems like a paperwork mess up here with this property that may have been taken from him for whatever reason. And it sounds like Social Security thinks that he got the value of the property returned to him, and he did not. It was just a loss. He hasn't made more money, and now he's maybe going to lose some of his benefit.
Yeah, so there's a couple things going on here. First of all, just in case you're not familiar with the SSI program, there are periodic reviews, and we sometimes talk about periodic medical reviews, but with SSI there's actually periodic non-medical reviews to make sure that you're still meeting those factors. And so when you're drawing SSI, any kind of income or resources like property and extra cars and things like that is something that counts. And so it sounds like you went in and they did that review, and the paperwork that you submitted about this piece of property made it sound like you received that money, but you said in fact you didn't. So there's a couple of things. With Social Security, usually we have to go by what the paperwork says. So if there was a mess up with the transfer papers, I mean, that may be something that needs to be corrected, or something along those lines. But the other option is you also have appeal rights at Social Security. And oftentimes we talk about appeal rights when you're trying to get a disability decision. But if you get some kind of non-medical decision, like we're gonna cut you off because you've got too much property, and you're sitting here saying, no, that's not accurate. It wasn't. That's not true. Send in a reconsideration, or come by and see us and say you need to file a reconsideration. We'll have somebody else take a look at it. Then you have opportunity to kind of write out on that reconsideration form, what the situation is. And worst case scenario, you can go before an administrative law judge, just like we talk about with disability claims. You can actually continue and go through the hearing if you need to, and hopefully it wouldn't come to that, but that is an option out there. Okay, so he just needs to try to clarify that, and hopefully the benefit. Would you imagine his benefits will be cut off fairly quickly, or what do they do if he's appealing it? I mean the resource limit for SSI for an individual is $2,000. So if the paperwork that he submitted makes it look like he's got $28,000 sitting somewhere or received it, that is going to be a problem. That is going to stop his SSI benefits. Okay, then that's important for him to move on it, to clarify that. Right. It sounded like he was having some trouble getting that through with the folks there. Is there an office in Tullahoma, I guess? Yeah, there's an office in Tullahoma. Okay, well, give it a try again. Maybe you get someone different on those lines, how that works out. Let's go next to Cindy, I believe. We got Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Good morning.
Good morning, Nick.
Hey.
Okay, I just wanted to ask him, first of all, I wanted to say, I'm on SSDI now, not only because of the lung condition I got, but because in wrestling, and I got injured a lot, but I've survived all that. And I wanted to go on SSDI because I broke my pelvic in 2 places, and boy, I couldn't move. But I finally got up after a week and a half and started getting around. So first, I told them I wanted my SSDI because I was told with all the medical records I have, and the reason why I stopped wrestling and couldn't really perform at work was because I had the low sodium serum level, which is something weird I never heard of in the first place. I couldn't figure out why I just fell down. 1 minute I'm fine, 1 minute I fell down. But then after I broke my pelvic in 2 places, boy, that did it. I went to going side to side walking, and people like, why do you walk slow? Well, it's the way I had to do when they took the bone out of my hip, and they implanted it somewhere else.
Hey, Cindy. Cindy, what was that?
Yeah, but what I wanted to ask is, how does he feel about this Medicare for all and taking away if we have to have a supplemental insurance to help us? If I lose my supplemental, what does he think is going to happen then with Medicare for all when I worked since I was 11-year-old to pay for all this?
I see. Yeah, and I don't know if that's in your realm. You know, some of the talks about, you know, setting up Medicare for all and expanding certain social programs, and some people wonder about, like Cindy or me or you, that have paid into it, if that will change things. Is that just something, it's just too much of a policy thing?
Yeah, you told folks to call in and stump Josh. I'm afraid that, I mean, because, yeah, it's a little bit outside, you know, my purview. You know, what I know is kind of what we have now in Medicare. But there's, you know, different things that are proposed and different things that are batted around, you know, at the higher levels. And, you know, it's not really.
Yeah, and listen, that's a fair question. It's maybe more for the politicians. Josh just, you know, he does what they pass and what the laws are, as that is. I was going to ask Cindy, not so much that. She probably thought I was going to say, get to your question, which I'm glad she did. I wanted to find out more about her wrestling career. Was she a pro wrestler? And next time you call, Cindy, you got to fill me in on what kind, did you have a name? What kind of, what was your nickname? Yeah, call us on open phones and fill me in on your background as a wrestler. I think that's interesting. All right, we got lines open. If you have questions about Social Security, 737-7587. Let's go next to Kenny. Kenny, good morning. Hi, Kenny.
Yeah, tell Kelly Pickler to play country music with her band on her show. Thank you.
He wants Pickler and band. It's on this. It's on this station. She wants country music. I don't know what they play. Other music on there? I don't know. Kelly Pickler is not at this point collecting Social Security, but someday she may. You know, some of these callers, especially the first one we had this morning, was asking about, you know, clearing things up with Social Security, and he did go and talk to an attorney, who I don't know if he ended up retaining him. How do you decide whether or not you need an attorney to deal with either making your claim or doing it yourself? I know we've talked about this before, but I thought I'd throw that out for folks. What do you think? Yeah,
you know, the first thing I always like to lead off with when you talk about attorneys is that the Social Security office is there to help you and answer any questions.
So it's supposed to be set up so you can do it yourself.
And yeah, all those forms are self-help forms. Social Security representatives are there to help you and do the best that they can to explain. But some folks, especially when you start getting into the hearings level and the appeals council level, really feel like they might need an attorney who knows the law a little bit better, can dig down a little bit more, and kind of bridge the gap between the Social Security office, you know, and whatever they're needing. And so some folks, it's a personal choice. You know, some folks go out there and do that. But again, just like to, you know, make sure that you know that, you know, the Social Security office is there to help answer any questions you have as well.
You know, it's interesting. It's a whole cottage industry of lawyering now around Social Security claims. I'm just curious, and I know you're still, you know, you've only been with Social Security how many years?
I've been almost 16.
But I'm thinking it goes back even prior to that. When do you think, I mean, there had to be a time back with Social Security that lawyers were not involved, that they hadn't hit on the idea that, hey, we can make some money doing this. How long ago do you think lawyers really became in vogue for assisting folks in applying for Social Security? Would you guess in the last decade? Yeah. Has this become bigger? Because now you see signs and advertising for it. Yeah. But that's relatively newer, I think.
You know, based on, you know, my career, I always saw them kind of involved at the hearings level. I think we've seen a little bit of an increase. You know, I think we've seen a little bit of an increase at the initial and reconsideration level as you know, different economic factors and things have happened. And so you know, I mean, that's definitely out there. So
yeah, okay. Well, because my point is going back. Of course, you know, you do not have to have a lawyer to get it done. Keep in mind, remind folks how the lawyers get paid. Now, obviously, if you're applying for SSI, they know you can't pay them up front, so it's on, you know, a contingency. They win, you know, if you win. What's the percentage they get?
Yeah, so basically, how they get paid, they don't get paid anything if you don't get approved. But once you're approved, whatever your back pay or your retroactive pay is, so if it takes a couple years for us to approve you, we're going to protect you back to when you first contacted us. So you may be due a couple years of payments. They're going to get paid the lesser of 25% or $6,000, you know, whatever the lesser is of those two things, and out of your back pay. And
so the max is you'd have, if you got back pay of $20,000, $6,000 of that is going to go to the lawyer, which is better than if you were getting nothing at all on that front, okay? But yeah, just wanted to make it clear to you that that's the way it works out. They don't get paid unless you get paid, which is one reason why they're not going to take your case unless they think they can win. Some people say, well, I can't find a lawyer. Well, that means you don't have a good case, because no lawyer, if they think you have a good case, is going to say no to you. So if they're saying no, we're not taking it, it means you don't have a good case most of the time. Let's go next to Joe. Joe, good morning. How are you, Joe?
Good morning, Nick.
Hey.
Just a brief question for Josh.
Sure.
Scenario, man and wife, both of them on Social Security, past 70, and the higher earning person passes away. Does the lower earning person get the higher amount?
Yeah, that's a good question. So basically he's asking about widows' benefits and widowers' benefits, because it can go either way. And you know, oftentimes we switch those records over from drawing on their own record to the deceased records and what's called widows' benefits. A lot of time it takes an application, so you know, if you find yourself in that circumstance, make sure and give us a call and we can take a look at the record. Occasionally what we see is that the spouse or the living spouse was already drawing at least a little bit on the deceased record, and sometimes those benefits actually automatically convert over, but we always like to take a look at that and make sure. There are some circumstances, depending on when the person who passed away started drawing their benefits, it may appear that they actually were drawing a little bit more, but it's because they earned their delayed retirement credits and things like that. But I guess the short answer is, yeah, make sure and give us a call in that circumstances. Let's take a look at it. Awesome.
Listen, let's take a break on that note when we come back. Linda, Clint, and others, if you're on hold, stay there. We'll get to your calls. And we do have some lines open, 737-7587. We're going to 9 o'clock with Josh Horn at Social Security. So, hey, give us a ring. We'll be right back after this.